So now in example 4, we're going to be setting up our own polynomial function. So we've seen something like this when we were working in chapter 4, and we started with the factors and then set up what the polynomial equation would look like. So we have our zeros of 4. So if you have a factor of 4, then you are going to have x minus 4 as one of your pieces of your polynomial. So again, if 0 is 4, then x minus 4 must have been one of your factors. And then if you have 4 minus I, then you would have x minus 4 minus I as one of your other factors. Now, according to what we just talked about with the complex conjugates, you don't ever have a complex number without also having its conjugate. Okay, so if we have 4 minus I, then 4 plus I, we get it like for free. So like I said, the complex conjugates tells you that it comes in pairs. They're always going to come in pairs. So if you have 4 minus I, then you automatically will have 4 plus I. You'll never see one without the other. So we'd also have x minus 4 plus I, like that. Okay, so polynomial function, what we're going to do is FOIL this all out, simplify it up as much as we possibly can, and then pay attention here. We want it to have integral coefficients, so integrals are only real numbers, so eventually we want to make sure there aren't any imaginaries left, and I'll show you how that ends up working out. So keep the x minus 4 just the way it is. To make things easier on us, we are actually going to regroup these a little bit. So we're going to write this as x minus 4, we're going to group these two together instead of these two together, and then be super careful here. Minus a negative I would actually change this to plus I for this one. And then same thing here, we're going to regroup. I'm going to make sure the x minus 4 is grouped together, and then again, be careful, minus I would be what's left right here. Okay, so now we're going to FOIL all this out. Remember when you FOIL 3 terms like this, you pick 2 of them to FOIL together first. So we're going to FOIL these 2 together first. So I'm just going to leave this x minus 4 just kind of sitting right here. So now we're going to FOIL these out. So we have the quantity x minus 4 times the quantity x minus 4. So that is an x minus 4 squared. And then I can keep factoring. I have the quantity x minus 4 times negative I. So that would be negative x minus 4 times I, and then positive I times x minus 4, so that would be plus x minus 4 times I, and then last, positive I times negative I would be negative I squared. Okay, so let's work on continuing to simplify this up. Look at these 2 terms right here. They're actually identical but opposite. So we have a negative 1 and a positive 1. They would just cancel each other out, so those terms are now gone. So let's worry about simplifying up the rest. So we have x minus 4. If I take x minus 4 and square it, x times x is x squared, and then I would have an x times negative 4 and another x times negative 4, and then negative 4 times negative 4. And then finally, don't forget about this little guy, that minus I squared. Remember, I squared is equal to negative 1, so that's like minus negative 1. So plus 1. All right, so that is 17. So we'll rewrite that as 17. So now finally, FOIL all this out. So we have x times x cubed. X times x squared is x cubed. X times negative 8x. X times 17. And then we move to negative 4. Negative 4 times x squared. Negative 4 times negative 8x. And then negative 4 times 17, so that would be 4 times 10 is 40, 4 times 7 is 28, so that would be a negative 68 when you combine those. Okay, so we want it to be a function, so we know it's going to be f of x. Now let's combine like terms. That's our only x cubed. Here are the x squareds, so that combines to a negative 12x squared. Here are the x's, add those together, and I'd get 49 and minus 68. So that is your polynomial function that has these zeros that you mentioned.